If you care about your skin, hair, nails, and joints, you're going to want to see this because what I'm about to show you isn't a supplement. And it's not something most people ever think to eat. What if I told you the most powerful collagen food on the planet doesn't come in a powder, doesn't dissolve in water, and doesn't say anti-aging anywhere on the label? In fact, most people walk past it every single week without realizing what they're ignoring. Right now, millions of people are spending serious money on collagen supplements, hoping they'll protect their skin, their joints, their gut. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Most of those products are stripped down fragments of something that used to come naturally from food. And the real loss isn't just money. It's flexibility. It's joint comfort. It's skin that slowly loses its structure year after year. Here's the part that surprises almost everyone. The most bioavailable body-recognized collagen isn't rare, exotic, or expensive. It comes from parts of the animal modern diets quietly taught us to throw away. There's one in particular, chewy, unglamorous, and almost never talked about that delivers collagen in its most concentrated, usable form. You're not supplementing it. You're eating straight collagen. I'll show it to you soon. But first, you need to understand why your body responds to real collagen foods differently than anything in a bottle. Long before collagen became a trend, people were getting it daily without powders, pills, or subscriptions. They weren't supplementing. They were eating intelligently. Today, I'm pulling back the curtain on 3 of the most underrated collagen foods you can buy. Beef tendon, thickened feet, and real bone broth made the traditional way. I'll show you where to find them, how to prepare them step by step, and how to turn them into foods that actually support your skin, joints, gut, and connective tissue from the inside out. Because once you understand this, buying collagen supplements starts to feel like paying for a shadow of the real thing. 1. Beef tendon, the pure collagen gem. Let's start with the one that makes most people pause, squint, and quietly step away from the meat counter. Beef tendon. At first glance, it doesn't look like food. It looks tough, pale, and unfamiliar. Many people assume it's fat or waste. That misunderstanding is exactly why it remains one of the most underrated collagen sources on the planet. Because once you understand what it actually is, everything changes. Beef tendon is not muscle meat. It's connective tissue, the very structure that holds muscle to bone. And nutritionally, that matters. Unlike steak or ground beef, tendon is composed of about 95% protein. And the majority of that protein is type 1 collagen. This is the same collagen that forms the framework of your skin, hair, nails, tendons, ligaments, and even parts of your gut lining. In other words, you're not just eating protein. You're eating the raw materials your body uses to rebuild itself. And it doesn't stop there. Beef tendon naturally contains glycine and proline, 2 amino acids that are critical for collagen synthesis, tissue repair, and calming inflammation. It also provides glucosamine, a compound so commonly associated with joint supplements that people forget it originally came from food. When you eat tendon, you're getting these compounds together in their natural ratios, the way your body recognizes best. The macros are almost unbelievable for how nourishing this food is. A 3-ounce serving contains roughly 131 calories, 32 grams of protein, just 1 gram of fat, and 0 carbohydrates. That makes it incredibly efficient, highly satisfying without being heavy, and compatible with ketogenic, carnivore, low-carb, and ancestral-style diets. Now let's talk about preparation because this is where most people get intimidated. Raw beef tendon is extremely tough. So tough that a knife won't even make a dent. But with the right process, it transforms into something completely different. Soft, bouncy, gelatinous, and deeply satisfying to eat. The first step is simple but important. Rinse the tendons thoroughly under cold running water. This removes any surface residue and sets you up for a cleaner final result. Next comes the step you should never skip, the initial blanch. Place the tendons in a pot, cover them with cold water, and bring it to a boil. Let them simmer for about 10 to 15 minutes. You'll notice foam and cloudy impurities rising to the surface. This is exactly what you want to remove. Once that time is up, drain the pot completely and discard the water. This step dramatically improves flavor, smell, and clarity. Now the real transformation begins. Return the tendons to your pot and cover them with fresh water. From here, you have 3 options depending on your kitchen and your patience. If you're using a pressure cooker or instant pot, cook them on high pressure for 90 minutes. If you prefer a slow cooker, let them go on low for 8 to 10 hours. And if you enjoy the traditional stovetop method, bring the pot to a boil, then reduce it to the gentlest simmer for 4 to 6 hours. All 3 methods work. The goal is the same. Fully tender, collagen-rich tendon. Once cooked, remove the tendons and let them cool slightly. Then comes a step that makes everything easier. Chilling them overnight in the refrigerator, ideally in some of their cooking liquid. As they cool, the gelatin sets, giving the tendon a firm, elastic texture that's incredibly easy to slice. The next day, you'll find they cut cleanly into beautiful pieces. No slipping, no shredding. At this point, they're ready to use in soups, stews, stir-fries, or even crisped in an air fryer. One final tip, never throw away the cooking liquid. Once cooled, it often turns into a thick, jiggly gel. That's concentrated collagen-rich broth, liquid gold. Use it as a base for soups or freeze it for later. You can find beef tendon at most butcher shops if you ask, and almost always at Asian markets. It's affordable, deeply nourishing, and one of the most direct ways to feed your body exactly what it needs to maintain strong joints, resilient skin, and a healthy gut. 2. Chicken feet. The forgotten kitchen treasure? If beef tendon is the collagen gem people avoid because it looks unfamiliar, chicken feet are the one people avoid because they look a little too familiar. To many Western eyes, they don't even register as food. They're something to be discarded, ignored, or politely declined. And that's a massive nutritional mistake. Chicken feet are made almost entirely of skin, cartilage, tendons, and connective tissue, which is exactly where collagen lives. In particular, they are rich in type 2 collagen, the form most closely associated with cartilage health and joint cushioning. If your knees, hips, fingers, or shoulders have started reminding you of their presence more often than you'd like, this is the kind of collagen your body understands immediately. Beyond collagen, chicken feet naturally contain chondroitin, a compound so prized for joint health that it's often paired with glucosamine in supplements. They also provide calcium and phosphorus, supporting bone strength in a way that's gentle and food-based, rather than aggressive or artificial. And perhaps most impressively, they do all of this at a price point that's almost laughable. In many markets, chicken feet are one of the cheapest animal foods available. The key to loving chicken feet is preparation. When handled correctly, they don't taste strange. They don't smell odd, and they don't feel intimidating. They become tender, silky, and deeply satisfying. Start with cleaning. Rinse the feet thoroughly under cold water. Using kitchen shears, snip off the tips of the claws at the last joint and discard them. This step alone makes them feel much more approachable. Next comes what I call the deodorizing step, and it's essential. Place the cleaned feet in a pot, cover with water, and add a few slices of fresh ginger or a splash of vinegar. Bring the pot to a boil and let it cook for 5 to 7 minutes. This quick boil removes any residual odor and impurities. Drain the pot, rinse the feet again, and you're left with a clean, neutral base ready to absorb flavor. Now it's time to cook them until tender. If you're using a pressure cooker, cover the feet with fresh water or broth and cook on high pressure for 25 to 30 minutes. On the stovetop, place them in a covered pot with enough liquid to submerge them and let them simmer gently for 1.5 to 2 hours. You'll know they're ready when the skin and connective tissue are soft and easily pull away from the small bones. From here, chicken feet become incredibly versatile. You can braise them in a flavorful liquid, coconut water, soy sauce, garlic, and chili for a Vietnamese-style preparation, or with mushrooms and peanuts for something richer. They absorb flavor beautifully while contributing their own silky texture. But one of the smartest ways to use chicken feet is almost invisible. Add a few cleaned braised feet to your po, ramen, or any soup stock. As they cook, they release collagen into the broth, transforming it into something glossy, rich, and deeply nourishing. You may not even notice the feet themselves, but you'll absolutely notice how the broth feels in your mouth and how satisfying it is. For the adventurous, chicken feet can even become a snack. Once braised until tender, season them lightly and dry them at a low temperature in the oven or dehydrator. The result is a chewy, collagen-rich bite that's surprisingly addictive. Chicken feet remind us of something important. Nutrition doesn't have to be fancy to be powerful. Sometimes the most healing foods are the ones we were taught to ignore. 3. Bone broth. Our ancestors' golden elixir. If beef tendon is concentrated collagen and chicken feet are joint-focused collagen, then bone broth is the great unifier. The food that quietly brings everything together. Long before collagen powders, before protein shakes, before supplements had brand names, there was always a pot simmering somewhere. That pot held bones, joints, scraps of connective tissue, and time. Bone broth wasn't trendy. It was foundational, and for good reason. True bone broth is a full-spectrum extract of the animal. When you simmer bones slowly, you're not just pulling out collagen. You're drawing minerals from the bone matrix, gelatin from connective tissue, and amino acids that support digestion, sleep, and repair. This is why real bone broth feels different from boxed stock. One nourishes, the other just flavors. During a long, gentle simmer, collagen breaks down into gelatin and small peptides forms your body can absorb with ease. This is especially helpful if digestion isn't perfect, something many people experience as they get older. Bone broth is also rich in glycine, an amino acid that supports the gut lining, helps regulate blood sugar, promotes deeper sleep, and assists the liver with detoxification. It's calming, grounding nourishment. Mineral-wise, bone broth delivers calcium, magnesium, phosphorus, and potassium in a balanced food-based form. These minerals don't arrive alone or in isolation. They come packaged with gelatin and amino acids that help the body actually use them. Now let's talk about how to make bone broth the right way, because this is where most people go wrong. The first step is choosing the right bones. For the best results, you want a mix. Marrow bones provide rich flavor and minerals. Knuckle and joint bones contribute collagen and gelatin. Chicken feet, if you have them, add extraordinary gel power. This combination creates depth, nutrition, and that unmistakable body in the final broth. Before you start the long simmer, always blanch your bones. Place them in a pot, cover with water. Bring to a boil and let them cook for about 10 minutes. Drain and discard the water. This removes impurities and ensures a clean, pleasant-tasting broth. Transfer the blanched bones to a large stock pot or slow cooker. Add cold water to cover them by about 2 inches. Then add 1 to 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar. This isn't for flavor. It helps draw minerals out of the bones. If you like, you can add onion, carrot, and celery for aroma, but keep it simple. Bone broth doesn't need much. Now comes the most important part, time and temperature. Bring the pot to a gentle simmer. Then reduce the heat as low as possible. You're not boiling, you're barely coaxing. The surface should show only the smallest movement. For chicken broth, let it simmer for 12 to 24 hours. For beef or lamb broth, aim for 24 to 48 hours. During the first few hours, skim off any foam that rises to the surface. After that, you can largely leave it alone. When the cooking is done, strain out the solids and let the broth cool. As it chills, something magical should happen. A properly made bone broth will set into a firm, wobbly jelly in the refrigerator. That jiggle is your confirmation you've extracted real gelatin and collagen. Store your broth in the refrigerator for up to 5 days or freeze it in portions for later use. Ice cube trays are perfect for this. Bone broth is incredibly versatile. You can sip it warm with a pinch of sea salt in the morning or evening. You can use it as the cooking liquid for rice, quinoa, or lentils. Use it as the base for soups, stews, sauces, and gravies. You can even sauté vegetables in it. Every time you use it, you're quietly upgrading the nutrition of your meal. This is not a supplement. This is a foundation. So, tell me, which of these collagen powerhouses are you most excited to try first? Let me know in the comments. If this guide helped you see collagen in a new way, give the video a thumbs up, subscribe, and share it with someone who still thinks the best supplements come from a bottle when in reality they come from a pot gently simmering on the stove. Of